All right. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Good morning. Good morning. I want to say welcome, welcome. I hope everyone is doing okay. I'm looking. Oh, it's right here. I was looking for the stylus that goes with my phone. So I want to say good morning. Happy Wednesday to you all. I hope that everyone is doing well. I want to say good morning and thank you so much for taking time out of your Wednesday morning to come and tune in to Andrea Speaks TV. So I feel like I have a very good show lined out for you this morning, full of information. Um, before I get started, I want to say thank you all so much for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate you all so much. You all know, those who follow me, those who tune in each week, you all know this is an interactive channel. So I do like to interact with my subscribers, my supporters. So please make sure that as you're watching this video that you leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on the information that we're covering. Okay. Just a few things before we get started. In the description of this video, I have several links. You all know we're living in a time where there's so much going on. And now it seems like more than ever, we all need to be prepared, whether we're growing our own food. All of these things I've spoken about before on the many, many videos right here on my channel. So, now more than ever, we need to be um, growing our own food, becoming as self sufficient as possible. Also, learning ways to preserve food, whether that's canning food, dehydrating, drying your food, freeze drying food. Some people even, have found ways to do that. But we need to be prepared for what's going on and the things that are to come. So, I do have a website. My website is preparewithandrea.com. That's where you can get your emergency food supply, as well as your survival needs. So make sure you check out my website. Along with the website, I also have in the description a link to a video where I explain how to go about accessing the website, browsing the website, as well as placing an order. So make sure you check that out as well. And then also, if you are on Instagram, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Andrea Speaks TV. Okay. All right, y'all. We're going to go ahead and get started. Let me cut off this little fan here. I hope that you all are doing well, you and your families. A couple of stories that caught my attention as I was doing some research. I want to share them with you. Let me also take the time, if you are watching, if you were somehow led to my channel and you are not subscribed to the channel, I would like to invite you to subscribe to join our community. If you're someone like me who you're concerned about the times that we're living in, you want to know what's going on. There's so many distractions that are out there. Um, Sometimes it's hard to figure out, okay, well, they told us this one day and then they said this the other day. What's really going on? What do they want us to know about? Then this is the channel for you. So I want to invite you to subscribe and also share this channel, share the videos with your family members and friends in hopes that they will, learn and see what's going on and take action as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Our first story, this just happened, I believe, on yesterday. I'm going to share my screen with you. All right, the first story I want to cover this morning, I want to talk about an explosion at the Hoover Dam. Okay. Again, thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Before I get started, let me just check something. I hope you all can hear me and see me. Give me just a minute here. Okay, I think we're good to go. Okay. All right, a couple of different stories to cover this morning with you. The first one I want to talk about, this information was released, I believe, yesterday, which was Tuesday, July 19th. And the screenshot that I put on the screen actually comes from ABC News. As you can see, the title of the this was from a video, but the title says breaking news explosion at the Hoover Dam. Now this happened on yesterday, Tuesday, July 19th. And in the caption, it says a transformer catches fire and dam supplies 1 million plus with power. Okay, so we want to see what's exactly going on with this situation. Okay, so the article that I'm going to read to you actually comes from CNN. And the title of the CNN article says Transformer bursts into flames at the Hoover Dam. Okay, so let me give you some information on that. According to CNN, this information comes from CNN. A fire broke out at the Hoover Dam on Tuesday at about 10 o'clock a.m. local time when a transformer caught fire, sending plumes of black smoke into the air, as you can see in the picture, according to the Bureau of Reclamation. Now, the article says the fire was extinguished about 30 minutes later by the Reclamation Hoover Fire Brigade. The Bureau's regional director, whose name is Jacqueline Good, said in a statement, okay, there were no injuries to employees or visitors. Good said, okay, here is a quote by Good, who said there is no risk to the power grid. There's no risk to the power grid, and power is still being generated from the powerhouse. Okay. The quote also says we are investigating the cause of the fire and we'll provide additional updates as they are available. So, as this information came out, just based on my research, a lot of people were concerned. Okay, is this a deliberate attack? What's going on? Is this going to affect the power grid, the water supply? What is going to become of all of this that has happened? And so, according to the Bureau of Reclamation Regional Director Jacqueline Good, according to this person, they're saying, okay, there are no injuries to employees or visitors. Now, from my understanding, from my research, this information or this situation happened as visitors were there at the dam. So I can imagine to them this was a pretty scary incident. Not really knowing what was going on at the time, what caused it. So again, the Bureau of Reclamation, they're trying to assure the public that there's no risk to the power grid. Power is still being generated. You can see from the caption, that it says the dam supplies 1 million plus people with power. So that's a lot of people that, could potentially be affected. Okay. All right. Now, if you're wondering, okay, Andrea, where is the Hoover Dam? The Hoover Dam is located, the article says, where Lake Mead, we talked about Lake Mead before, and the fact that, droughts have been occurring in the area, and the lake, the water in the lake has significantly decreased. Okay, so we talked about Lake Mead right here on the video, right here on the channel, in videos where I was talking to you all about the water shortages. Okay, now, okay, so the article says the Hoover Dam is located where Lake Mead meets the Colorado River on the border of Arizona and Nevada. Okay, the massive dam, which was completed in 1935, according to the article, rises 726.4 feet from the foundation rock to the roadway on top of the dam and generates enough hydroelectric power to serve 1.3 million people, okay, according to its website. Okay, you all make sure, as I'm reporting the information, please make sure you like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, and also please be sure to leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on the information that I am reporting. Okay, now it was September. It was actually September 1935, according to the article, when President Franklin D. Roosevelt dedicated the massive Hoover Dam. Um, unforgiving. It says, okay, I'm sorry. It was in September 1935. Part of this cut off when I printed the information. Okay. Okay, it's okay. Okay, let me just okay. All right, so I apologize. I printed this out and it cut off, but it says it was September 1935 when President Franklin D. Roosevelt dedicated the Massive Hoover Dam. It says of modern engineering when it was completed in a remote, unforgiving desert during the Great Depression. By harnessing the mighty Colorado River, the concrete structure on the Arizona-Nevada border provides electricity to the Southwest, helped irrigate 2 million acres, and fueled the development of Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Phoenix, the article says, okay? All right, so that's just to give you a little background information on the Hoover Dam. I'm going to keep up with this story just to see, what happens in the coming days. But thankfully, no one was hurt, no one was injured. And according to the authorities at the Bureau of Reclamation, power, there was no effect to the power grid, and power is still being generated to over 1.3 million people. Okay, so let me know your thoughts about this story in the comments. Again, this happened on yesterday, which was Tuesday, July 19th. There was an explosion at the Hoover Dam. And according to this caption, it says the transformer caught fire, and the dam, as I shared with you, supplies power to over 1 million people, 1.3 million and counting. Okay. All right. Thank you again to those who are tuning in now live, or if you're watching by replay. Thank you for your support. Say hello. Let me know that you're tuned in. And again, I want to invite you to subscribe if you have not subscribed to the channel. Okay. So my next story that I want to bring to you, I actually, let's see. Okay. Thank you all so much. Let me see here before I go on to the next story. Um, I found out about this headline through another source, and I could not find any information online to verify what was reported. But there are reports that there is a an Amish farm in Pennsylvania, okay, in a place called Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania, if anyone knows where that is. And according to the most recent report, again, I could not verify this information. I couldn't find any news articles talking about this specific incident, but according to more recent reports, allegedly, an Amish farm in a place called Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken, that's also Lancaster County. They were saying that an Amish farm was raided by the federal government. So I did a little more research, like I said, to try to verify the information, because right here on Andrea Speaks TV, one thing that I always want to be able to do is report factual information. And so I came across a news article. This was back from August 3rd, 2021. Concerning the same story this recently in headlines. If you do a YouTube search, you can find where there are videos and reports about the Amish farm being raided by the feds. And so I found this article from 2021. It comes from, let's see, Fox 43 News, and it actually talks about the same farm and the same Amish farmer that is in the news now. Okay, so I want to bring you some information about that. According to Fox 43, now remember this specific article that I'm referring to here, it was first published on August 3rd, 2021, so almost a year ago, but it provides us with some context and details about what is currently or allegedly going on now, because it's the same person, same farm. Okay. All right. So according to this headline, the article says a Lancaster County farmer was fined $250,000 for repeated food safety violations. Okay. So it says, the caption says, a Lancaster County farmer is facing fines and possible jail time for repeatedly violating food safety laws. Okay. Now, this information comes out of, again, a place called Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania. And the article says a Lancaster County farmer is facing fines and possible jail time for repeatedly violating food safety laws. So as I heard the story, about the Amish farmer, the alleged story that came out just a few days ago about the alleged Amish farmer, his farm being raided by feds. I said, wow, like, I very rarely hear of situations like that. What's going on? From my understanding, um, the Amish community, they don't really, it doesn't seem like from what I have experienced or seen or heard about, it doesn't seem like they really bother people. So what is going on with this situation? So again, I did my research, and here's a story from almost a year prior that kind of gives us some context as to what's going on and possibly why the government was looking into this farm. Okay. All right. Again, this information comes out of Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania, and it says a Lancaster County farmer is facing fines and possible jail time for repeatedly violating food safety laws. Now, according to the article, again, this is from Fox 43 News back from August 3rd, 2021. U.S. District Judge Edward G. Smith Jr. found Amos Miller. Okay, this is an Amish farmer. He found Amos Miller in contempt of court for violating a 2020 consent decree and ordered him to pay $250,000 in fines, plus an additional $14,436 to cover enforcement costs. Okay, let me keep reading and let you know exactly what's going on with this. Okay, thank you all again for those who are watching live, or if you're watching by replay, please make sure that you like this video, share this video, leave me some feedback, leave me some comments, let me know your thoughts on the topics that I am covering. Okay, now Miller, the Amish farmer, Miller owns Miller's Organic Farm. Okay, you see the sign, which is actually above the door to his facility. Says he owns Miller's Organic Farm in Bird in Hand, which sells beef, chicken, and other meat, as well as raw milk. Okay, the farm has been tangling with federal authorities for several years, the article says, over its food handling practices. Okay, now listen to this. The Food and Drug Administration, or commonly referred to as the FDA, found listeria in the farm's raw milk in 2015 after raw milk, the article says, sickened two people and one person lost their life. Okay. Through genetic testing, the article says the FDA identified the strain of listeria as genetically similar to the strain that sickened the people, leading the FDA to conclude that Miller's milk was the, and I quote, likely source of the bacteria. Okay, now you all remember this part of the story reminded me. You all remember when I reported in one of my recent videos here on the channel, and I was talking about how the government was accusing, I believe it was backyard poultry, um, as being one of the causes of, I believe it was listeria. I hope I'm correct in saying the right illness, but it just kind of, it reminded me of the story that I had previously reported on about how the government was looking into the fact that people who have chickens, they raise chickens in their backyard, they were somehow claiming or tying that to listeria and other illnesses. Okay. All right. So let me keep reading. Now, Miller, the farmer, told Fox 43 that his milk was not proven to cause the illnesses and that the person who lost their life had pre-existing conditions. Okay. Here's a quote by Miller, who said her family, I guess meaning the person who lost their life, her family is very upset that FDA and USDA is using her case to make us look bad. Okay. Now, prosecutors have accused Miller of showing a singular historic willingness to flout democratically enacted federal food safety laws, excuse me, of general applicability. Okay. Let me drink some coffee, y'all. Okay. Now, again, I'm giving you some background information as to what possibly led up to the recent reports of the government raiding this Amish farmer's farm. Okay. Now, the Department of Justice had filed several lawsuits against Miller and his farm, including a 2019 suit that ultimately won an injunction to cease violating food safety laws. Okay. In 2020, the article says Miller signed a consent decree acknowledging the violation, the injunction. Miller was found in contempt of court on June 16th. This was last year with a 39. I'm sorry. This is, I assume, 2020. Okay. It says Miller was found in contempt of court on June 16th with a 39-page ruling published on June 22nd that detailed Miller's interactions with FSIS agents. Okay. Falling under the umbrella of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which is USDA, the Food and Safety Inspection Service, FSIS, is tasked with ensuring meat and poultry sold commercially is safe, wholesome, and correctly labeled and packaged. Okay, FSIS agents accuse Miller of intentionally ignoring federal regulations on slaughtering livestock and processing and labeling meat. Okay, the order states. Here's a quote. It says, to date, Mr. Miller's actions call into question his motivation to continue to pursue with FSIS a plan for custom exempt operations. Okay. Miller, the Amish farmer, believes many federal regulations led to food being more unhealthy. For example, he said the citric acid antimicrobial wash used at a local slaughterhouse was harmful. Okay. Miller's organic farm practices are organic, non-GMO, chemical-free, hormone-free, and antibiotic-free, according to its website. All right. He was quoted saying that his cows get sunshine, they eat green grass. If the animals eat good, then we can eat good as well, he said. Okay. They use it as their medicine. Okay. Now, the order points out that, and I quote, other Pennsylvania Amish, Mennonite meat and poultry farmers and sellers routinely submit to FSIS inspection and other statutory and regulatory requirements, including, and it lists A, Belmont Meats, which is Amish run, and B, Miller's Biodiversity Farm. Okay. This was something that was also reported recently. The article says Miller's Organic Farm Buyer Club has more than 2,000 members. Some are calling for the sanctions to be reversed. Okay. Here's a quote by Miller. He said, I think if we stand together, the government does feel that pressure. Okay. They also launched a GoFundMe page. At the time, it had raised nearly $14,000 to help pay the fine. But the article says that may not be enough. Okay. Miller was also quoted as saying that I'll do whatever it takes to keep our children on the farm rather than going out into the world looking for jobs, which cannot be good in our culture, said Miller, who is Amish. If we have to pay it all ourselves, very likely we will not be able to move forward. Okay. Under the order, the article says, again, this is back from 2021. Miller, this is a report, a news article from 2021. Under the order, Miller has 30 days to pay the fine or could face further fines and possible jail time. Okay. So if you would like to do your own research on the story, again, all you have to do is just type in, for example, in your internet search, or even here on YouTube, if you type in Amish farm rated, the story will come up. Like I said, I couldn't find any recent news articles from 2022 about the story, but there are others right here on YouTube who are reporting that this just happened within the last few days. Okay, so I want to bring it to your attention. And the concern, you may say, okay, Andrea, well, what was the point of you sharing this? The concern that many people have now is that, if something like this could happen to an Amish farm, could it possibly happen to homesteads? Okay. Other people who have chosen to, have their land or a significant amount of land and they're raising livestock. They have, for example, cows, chickens, goats, and, they're farming. They have farmland at the same time. So I'm going to keep my eye out on this story, try to find some up-to-date information, factual information, so that I can keep you updated. Okay. But again, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think? Do you think this was fair? Do you think there's something else that's going on? Why is this farm being targeted? Okay. All right, the next story I want to move on is share with you is something quite recent. This information, actually, I believe this story has two sources. I want to talk about President Biden. President Biden recently took a trip to meet with other world leaders in the Middle East. And what has become of that trip has definitely caught the attention of several people and has even caused concern among several people. But according to the article, this information comes from CNN, and the title of the article says Biden tries to ease worries over U.S. commitment to the Middle East in meeting with key leaders. Okay, and one thing that he actually promised um, during the meeting, and I'm going to report on this as well. He has actually pledged $1 billion. Okay, President Biden has pledged $1 billion to go towards strengthening food security in the Middle East as well as Africa. Okay, so stick around because I want to know your thoughts on this particular topic. Now, according to CNN, President Biden on Saturday attempted to reassert U.S. leadership in the Middle East as he met with key leaders in the region, promising his administration would stay engaged amid fears China and Russia would swiftly fill a leadership vacuum. Okay. The president said American leadership in the Middle East would focus on using diplomacy to strengthen alliances and build coalitions, and that the U.S.'s objectives will remain, and I quote, focused, realistic, and achievable. Okay. His speech comes nearly 1 year after the U.S. withdrew all military troops from Afghanistan and ended 20 years of war in the country. He noted his visit to the Middle East was the first time since the September 11th terrorist attacks in 2001 that a U.S. president visited the region without American troops being engaged in combat in the region, though U.S. forces continue to conduct operations in Syria. Okay. All right. The article also says that Biden's foreign policy since taking office has largely focused on countering China's growing geopolitical influence and Russia's war in Ukraine, which has raised questions about the extent of the president's commitment to engagement in the Middle East. Okay. But listen to this, y'all. On Saturday, at a summit in Jeddah, the president sought to assure other Middle Eastern leaders and the rest of the world that the U.S. still sees the region as crucial to its foreign policy goals. Okay, let me keep reading. Here's a quote. Let's see. Here's a quote by President Biden, who said at the summit, he said, "Let me state clearly that the United States is going to remain an active and engaged partner in the Middle East." That was a quote by Biden at the summit, attended by key leaders on the last day of his Middle East swing. The president also said, and I quote, "As the world grows more competitive and the challenges we face more complex, it is only becoming clearer to me how closely interwoven our interests are with the successes of the Middle East." Okay. He was also quoted saying, "We will not walk away and leave a vacuum to be filled by China, Russia, or Iran." Okay, what do you all think about this information? Now, this is what I'm also going to report on, even in the next slide. President Biden announced $1 billion, okay, $1 billion in aid to food security assistance in the Middle East and North Africa on Saturday. Okay, the president also announced Gulf Arab leaders are pledging more than $3 billion over the next 2 years in projects that align with global infrastructure and investment. Okay, so I want to stop here. I just want to pause here and have a discussion. You know, when you think about what's going on right here in our own country, here in the United States, that's where I am, or maybe you're watching and tuning in, you live in another country. You know, when we think about all the things that are going on right here in our own land, the fact that we are, you know, in some places, many places, we're facing food shortages. If we're not facing food shortages, or even if we are, some of us are even, I feel like all of us are facing higher food prices, the availability of organic foods may have decreased or not even be available in some areas. Um, Many people may not have access to fresh foods, fruits, vegetables, and even some local agencies such as food banks, food pantries. They have had to limit, they have had to decrease and limit the amount of food that they can offer. Some places may have even had to close. So when you think about all of those things that are going on right here in our own country, and then when you hear that here we are, the United States, our president has decided to pledge $1 billion to give to other parts of the world, Middle East and Africa. It makes you question, well, why not take that, why not take that $1 billion and invest it here in our own country to help our people, tax-paying citizens, many who are tax-paying citizens, to help them either decrease the cost of food or help them increase access to fresh foods that are going to help them, um, you know, during these times. So, it raises a lot of questions. And it may even cause you to really ask the question, okay, is this all by design? Is this a plan? Is the plan for us to, for many people, is the plan for many people right here in the United States of America, is the plan for many people to go hungry, possibly suffer, while, money that is paid by tax-paying citizens right here in the United States, the money that we're paying, instead of a lot of that money being put towards means to help our own people, that money is instead being sent to other parts of the world, other countries. um a lot of people don't like that, a lot of people don't agree with that. And by something like that happening, especially at a time like this, it really makes you wonder, okay, again, is this by design? What do you all think? Again, President Biden, he has announced $1 billion in aid to food security assistance in the Middle East and North Africa on Saturday. Okay, the president also announced that Gulf Arab leaders are pledging more than $3 billion over the next 2 years in projects that align with global infrastructure and investment. And I'm going to cover that more in the next slide. Okay, the president said the U.S. would focus on supporting countries, and I quote, that subscribe to a rules-based international order. Okay, now I wonder what he means by that. Okay, let me say this again. The president said the U.S. would focus on supporting countries that, and I quote, subscribe to a rules-based international order, end quote, including helping those countries defend themselves against foreign threats. Okay, he thanked the leaders. Oh, there's something on my screen here. Hold on just 1 second, y'all. If I go away, give me just a second. I'm gonna come back. Something popped up on my screen here. Okay, it went away. Let me check and make sure everything's good. Please make sure, take a moment, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to subscribe, share this video, leave your thoughts and comments. And again, I want to thank you so much for your support. Okay. Let me make sure everything is good on this end. All right, and also please make sure you leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section to let me know what are your thoughts on the topic so far. Okay, again, President Biden has promised $1 billion. Okay, $1 billion of our tax-paying funds to help what he calls food security, help strengthen food security in the Middle East and Africa. Okay, could that money be used here in our country to help our people, whether it's the elderly. I don't know if many people have thought about this or considered this, but you know, as I have shared, the cost of food is increasing all across the board, and many people, such as the elderly, who may be on a fixed income, times may be getting a little harder for them because they still have their monthly expenses, but they haven't gotten an increase in their monthly income. But meanwhile, everything is higher. So do you feel like that money could be spent or should be spent on our people here, um you know on the citizens of our country here in the United States? What are your thoughts on that? Now, there's certainly, I feel like, um we should take care of our own, but then also you got to think about, there are other parts of the world that for whatever reason, they may be going through internal conflict, um wars within the country. I don't exactly know everything that's going on in those areas, but I do feel like that there should be some assistance given to assist those countries, but you got to be able to take care of your own at the same time as well. Okay. um let's see. President Biden also spoke, this is according to CNN. President Biden also spoke of the importance of protecting the, and I quote, freedom of navigation through waterways in the Middle East, which allows for the free flow of commerce and resources throughout the region. Okay, Biden said that the U.S. has established a new naval task force to work in partnership with Middle Eastern countries to help secure the Red Sea. Okay, so I'm going to do some research on this and see why they feel like it's so important to secure the Red Sea. I don't know if there's something else behind this. If you have some insight, please share it in the comments. Uh, President President Biden also touched on human rights as he sat beside Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, calling the values enshrined in the UN Charter, and I quote, foundational to who we are as Americans. Okay. He said that President Biden said that I've gotten plenty of criticism over the years. It's not fun, but the ability to speak openly, exchange ideas freely is what unlocks innovation. Okay. So that's what he said. Okay. So it says that he had several meetings. He met with leaders from Iraq, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, and he participated, it says, in the GCC plus 3 summit on Saturday. Okay. If you're wondering what the GCC plus 3 is, it says, the article, according to CNN, says the GCC plus 3 is made up of the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, that's what it stands for, an alliance of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates. I'm sorry, let me start over. The GCC plus 3, the article says, is made up of the Gulf Cooperation Council, which that's what GCC stands for, an alliance of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, I'm sorry, Qatar, Bahrain, and Oman, plus Egypt, Iraq, and Jordan. Okay, he departed Saudi Arabia for Washington after wrapping up his meetings. Okay, Biden came to Jeddah. You may say, well, okay, why was he there? The article says Biden came to Jeddah seeking solutions. He was seeking solutions now. The article says to one of his top political problems at home, which the article says sky high gas prices. Okay, so he's going to the Middle East to meet with Middle Eastern leaders. He's seeking solutions, the article says, to one of his top political problems at home, sky high gas prices, as diplomacy with Saudi Arabia in the Middle East was seen as one of the few routes he could take to bring down prices that are putting strain on millions of Americans. Now, you all know right here on the channel, I have taken you all with me. We talked about gas prices. We talked about how, they've gone up, they've gone down. Let me know how gas prices are in your area. But again, I'm going to say it again. It does not seem like the United States is as energy independent as we should be. Do you think the solution is going to meet with Saudi Arabian leaders and trying to seek some type of resolve or some type of help with them? Or do you think, excuse me, do you think that our leaders here in our country need to be meeting to come up with strategies and solutions here in America so that we can become energy independent. What do you all feel about that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Okay. Um, all right. The article also says that in his remarks to the summit, bin Salman, who the article said is, let me make sure I refer to him correctly. I lost my place, y'all. Hold on one second. Thank you so much. Make sure you like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. Okay. I believe he is the leader. Okay. He is the Saudi crown prince. Okay. Mohammed bin Salman. He said that joint international efforts were needed for the recovery of the global economy, and that, and I quote, unrealistic policies on energy will lead to unprecedented inflation. Okay, which, we're seeing unprecedented inflation right here in our own country. Okay. Um, Here's a quote from the Crown Prince. He said that adopting unrealistic policies to reduce emissions through the exclusion of the main sources of energy without taking into consideration the impact of these policies on the social and economic pillars of sustainable development and global supply chains will lead in the coming years to unprecedented inflation, increased fuel prices, increased unemployment, and exasperation of dangerous social and security problems, including poverty, famine, escalation of crime, extremism, and terrorism. Okay, that's a quote by the Crown Prince. Um, Biden's visit to Saudi Arabia. Biden's visit to Saudi Arabia has been closely watched, the article says. The president announced several new areas of cooperation aimed at reshaping the U.S. Saudi relations on Friday, but it has been his interactions with the Saudi crown prince that have drawn the most attention. Okay. The U.S. declassified an intelligence report last year that concluded that bin Salman approved um, the loss of life for a Saudi journalist and Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi, despite once vowing to make Saudi Arabia, and I quote, a pariah on the world stage. Biden fist bumped the crown prince upon greeting him in Jeddah ahead of their meetings. Fellow Democrats and others decried the gesture as too friendly and said it sent the wrong message. Okay, so based on all of this, okay, I think we can, clearly see why some people have growing concerns about this meeting. Okay. Um, let's see. The Biden administration has for months sought to formalize security and economic deals between Saudi Arabia and Israel in a bid to set the stage for a normalization deal between the two countries. Okay. All right. So that again is information coming from CNN. Now, you all know right here on the channel, I'm gonna go to the next slide. You all know on the channel, I've talked to you all and shared articles from whitehouse.gov. And I want to talk a little bit more about this story was published on July 16th. And I want to talk about the fact that President Biden, who recently went to the Middle East and met with our world leaders there, the fact that he has pledged $1 billion to help the Middle East and Africa, Middle Eastern countries, African countries, in the to help them increase food security. So the White House, whitehouse.gov, okay, and I told you all, anytime there's some type of news that comes out, press release, briefing from the White House, they always publish it on whitehouse.gov. Okay, so on July 16th, a fact sheet was published. The fact sheet says the United States strengthens cooperation with Middle East partners to address 21st century challenges. Okay, now I'm not going to read all of this, but I want to highlight the part about the $1 billion in aid. Okay, but before I do that, I do want to read the beginning of the first paragraph, actually the first two paragraphs of this article, and then I'm going to jump directly to the $1 billion in aid. Okay, all right, let me go back. Okay, So again, this is from the briefing room on whitehouse.gov. Fact sheet: the United States strengthens cooperation with Middle East partners to address 21st century challenges. Okay, now, according to this news brief, it says today, or referring to July 16th, President Biden met in Jeddah with the leaders of the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, the Republic of Egypt, the Republic of Iraq, and the Kingdom of Jordan, together known as the GCC plus three, named the, and I quote, Jeddah Security and Development Summit, end quote. This was the first summit of its kind among these 9 countries. Okay. Throughout, the leaders reaffirmed their commitment to a prosperous, peaceful, and integrated Middle East region, and in working together to address global challenges such as confronting new diseases. Listen to this, y'all. Okay, so their meeting, it says throughout, the leaders reaffirmed their commitment to a prosperous, peaceful, and integrated Middle East region, and in working together to address global challenges such as confronting new diseases, ensuring food and energy security, and addressing the climate crisis through these partnerships. Okay, again, y'all, listen, they're bringing up climate crisis. Okay, pay attention. You'll see eventually how it seems like all of this is connected together. All right, the news briefing says at the summit, President Biden reiterated the importance of the United States. I'm sorry, at the summit, President Biden reiterated the importance the United States places on its decades long strategic partnerships in the Middle East region, reaffirmed the United States' enduring commitment to the security and territorial defense of U.S. partners, and recognized the region's increasingly important role as a trade and technology crossroads, okay, between hemispheres. He also strongly reaffirmed the centrality of the Middle East region to the long term security and prosperity of the United States and the American people. Okay, so I want to jump to um, some points where they talked about America's commitment to the Middle East region. These were a few of the headlines, the kind of main topics, and then I will get to the where he talks about the $1 billion, or pledging the $1 billion in aid. Okay, America's commitment to the Middle East region. So President Biden set forth 5 declaratory principles: partnership, deterrence, diplomacy, integration, and values to guide U.S. engagement in the Middle East over the coming decades. Okay, he goes into detail about each one. It says, in addition, the leaders around the table agreed to ensure food security for the Middle East's most vulnerable populations. Okay, listen to this, y'all. I also have it on the screen, it's highlighted. Okay, now, President Biden announced for the United President Biden announced the United States has committed $1 billion in new acute, near to long term food security assistance for the Middle East and North Africa. Okay, or as it says in parentheses, MENA, Middle East and North Africa region. Recognizing that the impacts of and capacity to respond to global food insecurity are unevenly distributed across countries, leaders of the Gulf Cooperation Council, or GCC, underscored their commitment to supporting vulnerable populations in the MENA, that's Middle East North Africa region, through the Arab Coordination Group, AGG's recently announced $10 billion food security packages. It's a lot of acronyms, isn't it, y'all? We got the GCC plus three, GCC, MENA, ACG. It's a lot of acronyms, okay? So here's another one, or the one I just said, the Arab Coordination Group, ACGs, I'm sorry, excuse me, recently announced $10 billion food security package. Okay. Together, the United States and the GCC countries will leverage their collective assistance funds to address immediate humanitarian needs and disruptions, including guaranteeing full, safe, and unhindered humanitarian access to populations in need across the regions. Okay. Um, Also, it says the United States, the GCC members, Egypt, Iraq, and Jordan signed, look at this, y'all, the Roadmap for Global Food Security Call to Action. Okay, you may want to research that, which was unveiled in May 2022 at the ministerial meeting of the United Nations. Okay, a lot of meetings going on. Are y'all catching that? At the GCC Plus 3 Summit, leaders affirmed their collective commitment to act with urgency at scale and in concert to respond to the urgent food security and nutrition needs of millions of people in vulnerable situations around the world. Okay, they committed to provide immediate humanitarian assistance, build resilience of those in vulnerable situations, near to medium food security assistance to strengthen social protection and safety nets, and to strengthen sustainable, resilient, and inclusive food systems in line with the objectives of, and look at this, y'all. Let me start over, so I want to make sure you all don't miss this, okay? They committed to provide immediate humanitarian assistance, build resilience of those in vulnerable situations, near to medium food security assistance to strengthen social protection and safety nets, and to strengthen sustainable, resilient, and inclusive food systems. Listen to this, y'all. In line, and I have this highlighted right here on the screen, in line with the objectives of the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and its Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, wonder what that's about. And the objectives of the 2021 UN, United Nations Food Systems Summit. Now, isn't this something, y'all? So, I wanted to, and I'll stop there. The news brief goes on and on, but I just want to show you all. I highlighted that to show you all that this is not something that they just woke up and decided that they want to talk about today. This is something that they've even met about before. They've had plans about this, and it's a joint effort among many countries, not just the United States. So I want to know your thoughts on this. Again, it's very concerning that, with everything that's going on right here in our own country, here in the United States, that's where I am. Many people are going without food, have very little access to food. We all are experiencing increased food prices, yet we have $1 billion that our president has pledged to help these Middle Eastern African countries, to help them with their own food to strengthen their food security. But we have people here in America who are suffering as well. So let me know your thoughts on that. Very concerning story. And speaking of President Biden, you all know I have reported um, on this before, but moving on to my next topic now. Um, let's talk about the baby formula, infant formula shortage. Okay. Um, I have reported on this several times here on the channel. I've taken you all in the stores. We've actually looked at, I let you look at the shelves and see how they were so, bare. Normally, where there would be infant formula, you know, it was either empty or it wasn't really much to choose from. So I want to talk about the fact that, and this story came out July 18th, which was 2 days ago. President Biden has announced that we are on our 17th Operation Fly Formula mission. Now, this is very concerning, y'all. And here's another point. Again, our president has pledged $1 billion in aid to help other countries, but yet somehow here in our own country, here in the United States, we're still experiencing a baby formula, infant formula shortage. We can't somehow put money towards increasing the production of this formula to help, those families and mothers and babies who are, that use the formula. We can't do anything about that. So I want to bring to your attention that that President Biden has announced the 17th. Yes, we've gone through the first one, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th mission. Now we are on our 17th mission. President Biden has announced, again, this is on whitehouse.gov. It was published, the story was published July 18th. This statement, this release was published July 18th. Let's think about this, y'all. I'm gonna give you maybe a minute to think about this. Just read the article and or read the headline rather, and just tell me what are your thoughts on that. President Biden announces the 17th Operation Fly Formula mission. Doesn't it just sound, I don't even know the word for it. It sounds almost unbelievable, doesn't it? The 17th. So you mean to tell me there have been 17 trips where formula has been flown in from other parts of the world, from Lord knows where, okay? Other countries who are, promising to help with production of infant formula. Think about that, y'all. So I just want to bring you some information, give you an update on this. Again, President Biden announces the 17th, 17th Operation Fly Formula mission. Okay. The article, I'll just read. I won't go through all of it, but I'll just kind of highlight some points. Biden administration will facilitate air shipment of 802,446 8-ounce bottle equivalents of Nestle Health Science Alphamino Infant and Alphamino Junior formula on July 21st and 22nd. So that's the next 2 days. Okay. On the screen, I have a picture of the formula so you can see what it looks like. And let me just give you some updates on that as well. Okay. Again, I want to thank you all for tuning in this morning. Please say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on the topics that we are covering. And please subscribe to the channel if you have not already subscribed. And I appreciate your support. Okay. So today, referring to July 18th, the article says President Biden is announcing that his administration is sourcing 2 flights facilitated by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, or HHS as they're referred to, for Operation Fly Formula to transport Nestle Health Science amino acid-based formula from Switzerland to John F. Kennedy Airport in New York on July 21st and 22nd. This delivery, okay, the statement says this delivery will include approximately 74,403 pounds of Nestle Health Science Alphamino Infantine Alphamino Junior formula, the equivalent of, as I stated earlier, 802,446 8-ounce bottles. These products will be distributed primarily to hospitals and home health care providers. Okay. Isn't this concerning, y'all? All right, let me keep going. Okay, now let's see. I'm just kind of skipping around to report. Let's see. In addition, the article says the Biden administration has taken a number of other important actions to ensure there is enough safe infant formula for families, including invoking the Defense Production Act, entering into a consent agreement between the FDA and Abbott Nutrition. I talked about Abbott Nutrition before. They're the actual plant that was producing the infant formula, from my understanding. And at first, I think there was a situation where there may have been some contamination and they had to shut down. Then they opened up again. They experienced some flooding, and they had to close. And so that's Abbott Nutrition. Okay. So it says they entered into a consent agreement between the FDA and Abbott Nutrition to reopen the company's Sturgis facility and issuing FDA guidance so that major formula manufacturers can safely import formula that is not currently being produced for the U.S. market. Okay, details, it says, of our actions can be found at whitehouse.gov /formula. formula. Okay. All right. So you can do your research on that as well. Very concerning. There was another story that came out where uh, allegedly in some parts of the United States, possibly even other parts of the world, that there was a virus out that mysteriously was making infants sick. Now, immediately I thought about, all of this formula being flown in all around the world. And I wondered if somehow, because it's not being produced here in the United States, I wondered if somehow this formula that was being produced overseas and being flown in through Operation Fly Formula, I wondered if somehow, this mysterious illness was somehow linked to the formula. But again, this is a very concerning story. Um, but I'll continue to keep you updated on this as well. Okay. All right. Moving on to my next story, and this is actually the last story that I want to talk about. It's not something that I'm seeing talked about on front page news, but with everything going on, you all know that we've been through a pandemic now. Um, and now it seems like I'm seeing and hearing more about monkeypox and what's going on with that. But there is I want to bring to your attention and make you aware. Again, I don't see this being reported as front page news, but I want to make you aware that there is another virus um, that's currently going on, and I want you to know. Um, I want you to know about it. So this information comes from Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is a world news platform, and um, the title of this article says "Things to Know About the Dreaded Marburg Virus Disease." Okay, you all let me know in the chat. Have you heard about this disease, Marburg? This Marburg virus. Again, like I said, I'm not seeing a lot of information being reported about it in the news. However, okay, you all know a lot of times I look for stories it's not front page news so that I can make you aware and informed about what's going on. Okay, that's why it's important. I feel like that if you're watching and you like the content of this channel, that you subscribe so that I can keep you updated and informed about topics that I feel like you need to know about, and I feel like we need to have a conversation about. That way you can make a plan to protect yourself and your family. Okay. All right. So let's talk. I want to just give you some information about this. Again, this information comes from Al Jazeera. And I do encourage you to do your own research on this topic as well. This is a virus that I've never heard about. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but I feel like we need to do our research. Again, I'm not sharing this with you to cause you to panic, but I just want to make you aware of what's going on, and just so you can be informed. Okay, all right. So again, things to know about the dreaded Marburg virus disease. Okay, according to the article, now I put a picture here, and in the caption of this picture it says a medical worker carries a meal to an isolation tent housing a man being quarantined after coming into contact in Uganda with a carrier of the Marburg virus. Okay, so that's the picture that you see here on the screen. Now, according to the article, it says health authorities. Okay, all right, we'll look at it. Okay, today. Okay. Shh. Okay. Give me just a minute, y'all. All right. So this is the last story, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. If you're just tuning in and you missed any parts of the video, please make sure you go back and rewatch the content. Okay. All right. Health authorities in Ghana, the article says, have officially confirmed 2 cases of the highly infectious Marburg virus in the country after 2 people who lost their life tested positive for the virus on July the 10th. Okay. The article also says a total of 98 people identified as contact cases are currently under quarantine, the Ghana Health Service said, noting that no other cases of Marburg had yet been detected in the country. Okay, in Africa, the article says previous outbreaks have been reported in Angola, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Kenya, South Africa, and Uganda. The outbreaks have also been reported in Europe and the United States. Here's what we know about the disease. Okay, the article says what is the Marburg virus disease, or MVD, as it is abbreviated. According to the CDC, according to the CDC, the Marburg virus disease is a severe hemorrhagic fever that is caused by the Marburg virus. Okay, first identified in 1967 in Germany and what was then Yugoslavia after research on imported African green monkeys. The Marburg virus is from the same family, the article says, as Ebola. Okay, according to the World Health Organization, or the WHO, infection with the virus disease, and I quote, initially results from prolonged exposure to mines or caves inhabited by, it says, Rosetta's bat colonies. Okay, listen to this, y'all. Um, the article also goes on to say that once an individual is infected, the disease can spread through human to human transmission, and this can happen through direct contact with the blood, organs, or the bodily fluids of infected people, and through surfaces and materials that are already contaminated with these fluids. Okay. What are the symptoms? The illness caused by the virus begins abruptly, the article says, and according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, or CDC, after an incubation period of 2 to 21 days, symptoms are marked by fever, chills, muscle aches, and pain. Okay, the CDC said that a rash, most prominent on the chest, back, and stomach, may occur after the onset of symptoms. Okay, it also lists nausea, vomiting, chest pain, sore throat, abdominal pain, and diarrhea may appear as well. Okay, the World Health Organization says patients might develop severe hemorrhagic manifestations within 7 days, and fatal cases usually have bleeding, often from multiple areas. Okay, during the severe phase, the article says patients show sustained high fevers. The patient might also show confusion, irritability, and aggression. In fatal cases, loss of life can happen between 8 and 9 days after onset, usually preceded by severe blood loss and shock. That's according to the World Health Organization. Fatality rates have varied from 24 to 88% in past outbreaks, depending on the virus strain and case management. The virus is also known to persist in some people who have recovered, and it can be found in the certain parts of the body. Okay. Wow. Okay. How can it be treated? According to the World Health Organization, there is no proven cure available for MVD. However, there is supportive care and treatment of specific symptoms. Supportive care includes rehydration with oral and intravenous fluids and a range of potential treatments, including blood products, immune therapies, drug therapies, are currently being evaluated. Okay, samples collected from patients are considered, and I quote, extreme biohazard risk. I'm sorry, samples collected from patients are considered and I quote, extreme biohazard risk, and laboratory testing needs to be conducted under maximum biological containment conditions. It says, the article also says, is there a way of preventing the infection? According to the GAVI, to prevent the infection, extremely, and I quote, stringent infection control measures are needed to avoid people being in contact with each other. Okay, listen to this, y'all. Avoid eating or handling bush meat is also important to avoid the spread from animals, and raising awareness in communities and among healthcare workers is critical, since that can lead to better precautions against the spread. Okay. They also advise Wow. Okay. Let me see. They also talk about different acts and hygiene as ways to prevent the infection. Um, and for health workers, the World Health Organization recommends they wear gloves and appropriate personal protective equipment or PPE when taking care of patients. Okay. The World Health Organization has also recommended precautionary measures in pig farms to avoid them from becoming infected through contact with fruit bats. A lot going on with this, y'all. The UN agency said they can be potential amplifier hosts during the outbreak. Okay, so again, I just wanted you all to know that there's another virus. Marburg virus is being talked about. I'll try to keep you all updated on that as well. Okay. Um, that is the end of my broadcast for today. I do want to ask a question. What are your thoughts on the topics covered in this video? I know we covered a lot of topics. Again, in some form or way, I felt like it was important for you to know about. That way, even if it was something that wasn't happening in your area, who's to say that it couldn't happen where you live? So please leave me a comment, leave some feedback. What are your thoughts on the topics that we covered in this video? And again, I want to thank you all so much for supporting and subscribing to Andrea Speaks TV. Be sure that you like this video, share this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. And again, I want to thank you all so much for your support. You know, it's a lot going on in the world that we live in, and I want to encourage you to take care of yourself, still live your life, enjoy the time that you have with your family and loved ones. And again, I want to say thank you all so much. I'll see you back soon right here on Andrea Speaks TV. Make sure that you not only subscribe to the channel, but when you subscribe, make sure you hit all notifications. That way, whenever I do go live or I upload new content on the channel, you'll be one of the first to know. Okay. All right. Take care, y'all. And I'll see you again soon right here on Andrea Speaks TV. Y'all have a good day.